Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's history video brought to you by the Clinton Public Library. This week we will be covering Clinton's illicit booze trading past, along with the highlights of its Prohibition era. First and foremost, booze trading had to have a function of movement, much like an underground railroad. Underground tunnels and railroads are something Clintonians are perfectly used to, being a coal mining town, which meant heaps of tunnels and plenty of trains to ferry cargo. What better way to transport their ill-gotten gains than by using those same mining tunnels to still moonshine and transport it to both trains and rivers? The rails were most likely used to send it to the Rod and Gun Club, as it was a major hotspot during the Prohibition. It was such an infamous hotspot that it has been alleged that they used freight cars carrying potatoes to cover the movement of alcohol, and that these bags of potatoes were then either thrown out or handed out to the poor. The other option at the time was to send our booze down the river, but it appears that Clintonians did not favor that option, and most historical evidence suggests that railroad was the more popular and dependable form of transport. It must have been incredibly effective because it became well known that our town of Clinton, Indiana was a good source for liquor during the Prohibition. There were so many instances of bootlegging going on that police would inspect anyone's vehicle which may be slightly sagging on the springs. They stopped so many via this method that an automotive shop even started offering service based on the business of setting the springs so they wouldn't sag carrying a load of liquor. There was a great deal of entrepreneurship within Clinton at this time because of the sheer amount of money and focus placed upon the town, both for and against the law. There is even evidence of a number of people squeezing in on the trade by cutting the alcohol with water before selling at a regular market price. Our greatest instance of growth in business can be seen in the speakeasy that was discovered several years ago. Lucky Strike Bowling was torn down, and lo and behold, a speakeasy was tucked away. This indicates that despite the Prohibition, us ever-social Clintonians were apt to still drink in a bar setting, even if it meant shying away from the law. One notorious bootlegger from Clinton's earlier days was Arthur Zamberletti, who made a number of achievements thanks to money earned from legging shine. He was one of the first citizens in Indiana to own a private aircraft, and the first in Clinton to have an outdoor swimming pool. He also had several interactions with gangster Al Capone's men at the height of Capone's power. One such interaction was when a number of Capone's men threatened to kidnap Arthur's son, and another time kidnapped Joey Zamberletti, who was Arthur's brother, mistaking him for Arthur. They did not realize their error until they made it to Crisman, Illinois. Upon realizing their kidnappee was not their intended target, they stopped a Greyhound bus at gunpoint and stuck Joey on. Another time, they held Arthur at gunpoint and demanded 25 cents for every 100 pounds of sugar that he bought. He managed to snatch the gun and fired at them point blank, but only ended up grazing the top of their heads. It was rumored that Capone burst out laughing at the men's escapades and failures to intimidate Zamberletti. This bootlegging reputation and the fact that he managed to fight off some of the toughest gangsters' men of the time meant that people began to remark on Zamberletti's successes. The public afforded Zamberletti the nickname, the King of Indiana Bootleggers. There are many more details which have unfortunately fallen through the cracks about this time period, but while lacking a detailed picture, the information we have allows us to present a pretty good idea of what the Prohibition was like for Clinton, Indiana. If you find our information lacking, or you have any relevant details or sources you'd like to share, please reach out to us at the Clinton Public Library. We are always looking to create more historic content about the Prohibition era, as it is such an exciting time in our town's legacy. We hope you enjoyed this week's history video, and thank you for watching.